We've been comparing OnePlus devices with the latest Galaxy for years, and usually the OnePlus wins. See, while the Galaxy has always been a better phone, the differences were never enough to warrant the substantial differences in price tag. The OnePlus was just good enough. Thing is, the dynamic has changed. The OnePlus 7 Pro is a completely different beast that now doesn't just want to compete with specs and price. This wants to be a better phone than its competitor and still priced aggressively. The question is if the bar is high enough to compete. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and this is OnePlus 7 Pro versus the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. I guess the biggest question is, should you trust OnePlus? I mean, Samsung has been in the market for years. They own the most popular Android brand by far. And, well, the answer is actually quite complicated. Side by side, both devices are flat slabs of aluminum and curved glass. Both have shiny finishes in the borders, and both are reflective fingerprint magnets at the back. Neither of them is what I'd call ergonomic, but the OnePlus 7 Pro makes it easier to reach the power button at least, and the mute slider is also very convenient, where the Galaxy seriously has the worst power button to reach by far. That being said, the 7 Pro is 5mm taller, 1mm wider, 1mm thicker, and 31 grams heavier than the Galaxy. This allows the OnePlus 7 Pro a larger 6.67-inch display when compared to 6.4 inches on the Galaxy, with a negligible difference in screen-to-body ratio. These are both Super AMOLED displays at Quad HD Plus resolution that are a stunning sight to see, and both are capable of HDR10+. If you're not a fan of notches or interruptions, you'll prefer the display on the 7 Pro. You'd even say OnePlus has a better display because of its 90Hz refresh rate, but not so fast. If you value brightness and direct sunlight, the Galaxy would be the device that I'd recommend most.
Of the OnePlus 7 Pro gets taken down a little bit by the higher.
I'd also give extra points to the Galaxy on content consumption.
The OnePlus 7 Pro is large at 4,000 mAh units.
And it's not really just for the stereo speakers because both devices have them, but because the Galaxy includes a headphone jack. Internals are a mixed bag though. They both have the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 and both have a 4,000 mAh battery. The 7 Pro has faster charging through Warp Charge, but the Galaxy has reverse wireless charging. The Galaxy also starts at more RAM, but you'll pay a lot less money for 6, 8, or 12 gigs of RAM on the 7 Pro. They both start at the same storage, but the 7 Pro has faster storage, even if the Galaxy does bring expandability. The Galaxy S10 Plus also brings an IP rating, where the 7 Pro is guaranteed to be water resistant even if no certification is provided. Let's just call this part a tie given all the variations. As for the cool factor, I'll tell you this much, both devices have their own. They both have an on-display fingerprint scanner, with the optical solution on the 7 Pro being significantly faster, and the option on the Galaxy being more secure. At the top of the coolness food chain is the OnePlus motorized camera. I find it to be a smarter solution than the Infinity O punch hole on the Galaxy from a visual perspective, though durability is obviously a concern, and the Galaxy does bring the added kick of a depth sensor for portrait selfies. Like seriously, I don't blame you if you consider the hardware portion of this comparison to be a tie. Both companies bring their own levels of innovation. Seriously, the best tiebreaker right now is software. This is really an easy win for OnePlus given its simplistic approach. Oxygen OS looks like stock Android, but is faster, more fluid, and has a lot more useful touches, like the flexibility in the navigation buttons, the options to map the Google Assistant to the power button, and the Google feed on the launcher if you're using the T-Mobile variant. Not really a fan of the drawer with the unlock variants. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with Samsung's One UI. It's more ergonomic thanks to menus and options now being presented at the bottom. It's a bit more elegant from a design perspective, and I find its customization options to be more complete. Thing is, if I had to pick only one, I would go for Oxygen OS. Those of you interested in the Android Q beta, this phone already supports it, and I've also noticed that OnePlus devices have aged better over time, from software optimizations to getting software updates. Now, once you compare them in day-to-day use, a snappy phone is always more convenient. The Galaxy user interface is plagued with animations that make it look better, but which provide no useful benefit. It's still a fast phone, but there's no denying that the 7 Pro feels better. It also feels like the 7 Pro is more power efficient. People did praise the Galaxy S10 Plus for its battery life, but I can't really say that was my case. Even today, you will get through end of day, but only the 7 Pro will give you an extra one, and faster charging in the box. Phone calls sound great on both devices, and data speeds are comparable. I highly recommend that you watch my separate video on the Galaxy S10 5G to see the tests being conducted between these two phones and that one as a comparison. Now, the camera comparison is an interesting one because both devices have embraced the advantages of versatility, but do yourself a favor and don't make this a comparison about specs. Surely OnePlus has more megapixels in the primary, but the S10 Plus has a brighter aperture that adapts. The S10 Plus has more megapixels on the telephoto, but the 7 Pro is 3x optical versus 2x. And even if the megapixel count is the same on the wide angle for both, the Galaxy has slightly more field of view. Really, what's most important to compare is how software is optimized for both and the resulting photos. Samsung has more of a reputation for taking better stills, but OnePlus has brought some dramatic improvements in photography. There are certain cases where you'll have a hard time telling them apart, and others where Samsung pulls out more dynamic range. There are times when Samsung does a better job in low light, but since OnePlus has Nightscape, it can grab more detail. And let me just go quiet for a bit and show you some more samples and let you be the judge of these results. Where things start to incline more towards Samsung is the maturity of the software. The fact that you can now get portrait shots without needing to step back from your subject, whereas the crop is really aggressive on the 7 Pro. You can also edit these portraits after the fact in Samsung's Live Focus and even apply some neat effects, while the 7 Pro just gives you the still and that's it. Same thing with selfies, where OnePlus offers more megapixels on its module and a slightly wider crop, but the Galaxy has larger microns and a built-in depth sensor. Honestly, I tend to like more how the Galaxy handles selfies and even portraits, but I'm not the biggest fan of these, so I'll let you be the judge. And you can also notice this maturity in video, where the Galaxy S10 Plus allows you to select different cameras to record your shot, and even lets you move within them while you're recording, where the OnePlus 7 Pro only lets you record video with the primary. Video quality is comparable on both, and also stabilization, but if you're willing to take the hit into 1080p territory, Samsung's super steady video play with the wide-angle camera is quite epic. And even in the case of selfie video, I'd give more points to the Galaxy for being able to record 4K from the front, while the 7 Pro is still limited to 1080p, and this is even while having more megapixels on the sensor. To conclude, I think you understand why this is one of the toughest comparisons that we run every year. Both companies pull some really good punches with all the quality and versatility that they offer, and each set a very high bar. Each device is beautiful and powerful. The only thing left to compare is the price, and guys, please bear with me here. I do know that you can find some really great deals for the Galaxy in all US carriers, but that's not a permanent reality, and that's not something that people can take advantage of outside the United States. If we were to compare these devices by their retail price, the T-Mobile variant of the OnePlus 7 Pro starts at $699, while the Galaxy S10 Plus starts at $999. Guys, $300 is $300. That's almost the price of a Nintendo Switch, a smartwatch. You can get a cheap Chromebook for that money. You can get a lot of stuff for $300 these days. In the past, I would conclude these videos by saying that the shortcomings of the OnePlus made it good enough for the price. Today, we pretty much have a tie, and with the tiebreaker being the price. If this were my money, I would buy the OnePlus 7 Pro. Now, which one would you buy? Let us know in the comments down below, and while you're at it, make sure you follow us on social media as our extended coverage happens on Instagram. You can also follow me on the links below if you want to see some weird running photos or you want to see these cameras in action. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.